Coming up on The Potter's Touch.
Worship has nothing to do with emotions. It has everything to do with spirit. It might affect your emotions, but it is not caused by your emotions. It is a deeper reality that you go into where the enemy cannot follow you, where storms cannot follow you, where treachery cannot follow you, where worry cannot follow you, where depression cannot follow you. You can escape in the secret place.
This is the Potter's Touch.
I am Sarah Jakes, and you are watching The Potter's Touch. I don't know what you're going through. I don't know if you made it to church this week, but I do know that this message is one you will not want to miss. Check it out.
Our text today is quite unique. Like many of the Psalms, we often make the supposition that all the Psalms were written by David when in fact they were not. The Psalms are a collection of poetic and historical works that are gathered over a long period of time, and some were written by the psalmist David, and some were written by Moses, and some we are not sure exactly who wrote them. Psalms 91 falls into that last category of uncertainty. It is uncertain in part because one of the ways in which we detect who the author of the Psalms is generally in the heading above the song, and sometimes it will clearly say this is a song of Moses. Other times we are quite clear, like Psalms 23, that this is the work of David. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. It's clearly David's analysis of who God is. Often, how we explain God and our relationship with God is metaphorical because God is incomparable. He's totally unexplainable. So when we say he is the bread of heaven, we're not really reducing him down to something we put in the oven, but it's as close as we could get to saying he is my sustenance, that I am strengthened by him. And often God reveals himself through the eyes of the beholder in the language that you can understand. So David, who is the shepherd boy, says the Lord is my shepherd, because he understood that. There are other analogies that talk about him being the seed of Abraham, because you are dealing with an agricultural type of people who understood seed time and harvest. The really neat thing about God is that God will reveal himself on a level that you can behold. Are you hearing what I'm saying? I never will forget, my mother called me one time years ago on the phone, and I picked up the phone and I said, hello. She said, Tom. I said, what, Mama? She said, Jesus is God. I said, yes. She said, I was cooking these eggs this morning, and she said, all of a sudden I understood the egg has the egg shell and the egg white and the egg yolk, but it's still one egg. Now that might seem crazy to you, but my mother cracked that egg and saw the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit being one in an egg. God can show himself on your level. There's another way that we often analyze Psalms, sometimes by the previous Psalms, and Psalms 91 is preceded by Psalms 90, which we know is written by Moses. I tend to think that it was written by Moses for whatever that's worth. It might be worth 10 cents, a cup of coffee or something. But as we get down into this text today, I think Moses' life is a reflection of this revelation of who God is. He that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. Now my concern with the text, Moses, is you spend the next 15 verses sharing how wonderful it is to be in the secret place and to be up under the shadow, but where is the secret place? Because if you would give me the address, I would run into the secret place. When I was a kid growing up, I used to pass out papers up in a neighborhood called Vandalia on Mountain Road. I'd go around the road passing out papers, and they used to have these houses that had these signs on them. They were like this in a circle around the rectangle, and the sign was up like a triangle, and they were like safety houses in case there were bombs or something that never happened. These houses were places where the community could run there in and be safe. Okay, and the houses were identified so you could see them quickly in case there was a crisis. Now, I know that dated me and made me quite old, but that's the way it was. The truth of the matter is, Moses is giving us a fallout shelter, a place that we can go. Incidentally, I'm going to talk to you about being sheltered by the shepherd. And I want you to understand, you don't need shelter if there's not a storm. You don't need shelter if there's not an attack. You don't need shelter if there are not some external elements that are dangerous to you that you are trying to escape. Now, danger is a relative term, see? Danger is perceived in the heart of the one who's in the situation. There are some people who couldn't stand up here and do what I'm doing right now because they perceive it to be dangerous and uncomfortable, and they're afraid of it, and they wouldn't be able to do it. But there are other people who do things that are far more dangerous than this. They are up on skyscrapers, they clean windows, they do all kinds of daredevil acts that are dangerous on different levels. And it's about how you perceive it, whether you should be worried about it or not. And you can be the same person and not perceive the same situation the same way. I remember when I was 19 years old, about 19 years old, my brother and I were drag racing down Interstate 64 in Charleston at about 100 miles an hour, dying laughing. It was hilarious. And my brother says to this day, he had a Corvette and I had a Trans Am, and we were like, shoom. And my brother says to this day, the only reason he slowed down is that we got to the turn, and he said, I knew you was too crazy to give up, and if I didn't slow down, one of us was gonna get killed. And we died laughing about it. We thought it was funny. Now, I'm the same guy. I go back on the same highway. You could never get me today to go down the interstate that fast laughing. Same person, same road, but I have learned to be cautious. What do I know now that I didn't know then? And I look at young people, they feel sorry for me because I'm not having as much fun as they are, because my jaws are not peeled back up against my ears and my eyeballs haven't dried out from the wind going into my eyes, and they think I'm an old fuddy-duddy. But see, the difference between me and them, they haven't been in the wrecks I've been in. They haven't seen the jaws of life have to cut people out of a car. They haven't seen body parts splayed up and down the street. And sometimes you are reckless because you're inexperienced. Your experience teaches you that what used to be funny isn't funny anymore. See, when I was 19, I had no perception that I could die. I had perception that I could fly, but I didn't have perception that I could die. Experience teaches you to respect certain situations because you have seen the outcome of what could and could not happen. And so as you get older, sometimes you have a sense of more peril coming in your life than has ever been there before, when in reality, it may not be more peril. It may be that you have a greater sensitivity to the possibilities that you were blinded to before. My mother used to say, you don't believe snakes crawl. You know, people don't believe, you don't believe anything until you've experienced it, but once you've experienced it, you learn to be careful. Once you experience it, you learn to seek help. Once you experience it, you don't take life for granted. Once you experience it, you learn to be grateful. Once you experience it, you learn to be thankful. Once you experience it, you learn to look before you leave. Once you experience it, you don't open your mouth and tell your business to everybody. Once you experience it, oh, y'all not gonna talk to me today. Once you experience it, you don't believe that somebody's a great husband because they dress nice. Once you experience it, you don't believe that somebody's a good wife because she's got a beautiful face. Once you have seen how people have fallen into traps and gotten destroyed, you learn to be careful. You learn to be cautious. You don't do things as fast as other people do. You can't fall in love like you did when you were young because your faller is broke. You might lean in love, you don't fall. Tell somebody, say, my faller is broke. I might lean in a little bit, but that falling stuff, last time I fell, I broke something. Anybody fall and break something? And so you lean in love, you know. You're not in love, you got love tendencies. My point is, once you have gone through storms and peril and pestilence and destruction, you learn to appreciate what is being offered in Psalms 91. He that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High. Oh God, show me your secret. I would run right in there if I could see where it is, what address, which house do I run in that's safe? Which person is safe? Which thing is safe? Which job is safe? You are trying to find a physical place because you are reading the text with the carnal mind. The secret place is not a building. It's not a house. It's not an address. It's a place in the spirit that was just offered to you a moment ago. And I looked around the room as we were worshiping God, and I watched some of you miss the secret place because you were just... You know how to move your body, but you don't know how to move your spirit. You know how to get on the highway and go to North Dallas. You know how to get to Fort Worth. You don't know how to get in the spirit when it passes by. And the secret place is in the Spirit of God. And because you look at worship through carnal eyes, you think it's emotionalism, and you say you are not emotional. Worship has nothing to do with emotions. It has everything to do with spirit. It might affect your emotions, but it is not caused by your emotions. It is a deeper reality that you go into where the enemy cannot follow you, where storms cannot follow you, where treachery cannot follow you, where worry cannot follow you, where depression cannot follow you. You can escape in the secret place. And it is a secret only because you will not walk in the Spirit. And when you start walking in the Spirit and start moving in the Spirit and start flowing in the Spirit, you move into a secret place.
Still to come on The Potter's Touch.
It's easy to trust God when you just got a raise. Do I trust God even though I got fired? Do I trust God when I get laid off? Do I trust God as they lower a loved one in the grave? My heart is broken. I don't even think I can breathe. I'm so upset I'm out of breath. But Lord, I trust you that you wouldn't allow this to happen to me if some kind of way there were not going to be something positive that comes out of this. I trust you when I can't trace you.
It's an amazing experience. It's an opportunity to learn, and from Bishop Jakes, to learn from what he's experienced, to understand what leadership is, to understand what it is to be a pastor.
God has a place for you to go and to preach and to touch, and until you finish your purpose, no weapon formed against you shall be able to prosper.
This year, we decided to bring most of our leaders so they can hear the life-changing message. It's critical, it's essential. I recommend it to anybody.
I've seen others talk about it, but I have experienced it and witnessed it. It's like none other. Save your money, do whatever you got to do to get here, because your ministry, your life will never be the same.
Here the psalmist says, the Lord is my refuge. He is my fortress. my God, in him will I trust. He is my refuge. He is my fortress. A fortress is a part of a fort that gives you a place of protection. It means I now realize that those are real bullets coming at me. Those are real darts being shot at me. Those are real dangers being sent my way. And the only fortress I have, the only hiding place, the only dung hole I can dig down into and cover myself up is to get in the Spirit of God. And that's why I came to church this morning, and that's why I want to praise the Lord this morning, because it was worth it, the sacrifice of getting up and getting out of the bed and coming to the house of the Lord, because I know Monday I got some devils to fight, and I need to have the whole armor of God. Anybody got some devils to fight? He is my refuge, my fortress, my God. And this is another element that brings you into the secret place. In him will I trust. If you're going to have a God and you're not going to trust him, why do you need him? Why do you need a God if you're still going to handle everything yourself? Why do you need God to fix the family if you still got your mouth in it? Why do you need God to work it out if you're still trying to work some old scheme that you used to do before you got saved? God will never prosper you as long as you are still using your carnal devices to get ahead. I'm going to say it if I got to fight everybody in here. You will never get ahead lying and ripping people off and cheating and stealing. You just have to trust God and get rid of your old trickery, con artist ways. I'm not even saying you're not saved. You might be saved, but you haven't been changed in the way that you do things, and God can't bless you. You might be a son, but you're a prodigal son, and you're laying out there with those harlots, and you're going broke, going wrong. You're going broke, going wrong. You're running out of your substance going wrong. You're going to come home smelling like the hogs you've been hanging with. By blood you may be a son, but you have the habits of the hogs, and that's why you ended up in the swine, because water always seeks its own level. You better pray for me. It's going to be a rough one this morning. It's going to be a rough one this morning. You can raise your hand and skip all over the church and fall out in the floor, but until you change your ways and say, you know what, I'm going to trust God to make the way for me, I'm going to trust God. I'm not going to go out here and get pregnant by somebody so that I can have a nice place to stay and have a baby daddy. I'm going, it's going to be rough. It's crude, but it's necessary. Trust takes you to the secret place. Your trust will always be tried. Your trust will always be tried. Your trust will always be tried. Satan has a conversation with God about Job and says, I guess he is serving you. You got him in your secret place. I can't touch him because you got him in your secret place. I see him, but I can't get to him. Oh God, because you got, do you not know that some of us, that's why you ought not look down your nose at other people and what they did and how they did it. Because the only reason you didn't do it is that God put you in a secret place, and the enemy wanted to get you like that too, but God kept you. So don't you get high-minded and start looking down your nose at other people, because they're but for the grace of God. Satan says to God in a spiritual conversation, you have a hedge around him. He's in your secret place. I cannot access him. But I tell you what, if you move your hedge from around him, I'll make him curse you to your face. God said, I'll move it from around his things. I'll move it from around his body, but I won't move it from around his soul. And every place God moved a hedge, Job had an attack. House burned down, kids destroyed, reputation assassinated, afflicted in his body, troubled in his mind, at the lowest moment in his life. It's nothing like low moments to tell you what you're made of. I mean really low. I mean really low. I don't mean inconveniences. You had to park over in the west parking lot. I'm not talking about that stuff that you call tribulation. I'm talking about the things that reduce you down to your lowest common denominator. That's when you find out what you really got. And when push came to shove, Job says, the Lord knows the way that I take. And when he has tried me, I shall come forth as pure gold. I went through a bad, terrible situation in my life that just brought me all the way, literally, to being balled up in the corner in a ball crying. And I was just at my wit's end, at my breaking point, and it takes a lot to get me at my breaking point. And I'm curled over in the corner crying. And there I am, and I told God, I said, I hate this. I don't like it. I don't want it. I don't need it. I said, but I trust you that if you allowed this to happen to me, somehow or other, this is going to work for my good. You understand what I'm saying? I don't understand it. I'm not going to act like I'm okay with this. I absolutely hate this. I don't know why I had to go through this, but I know if I'm going through this, you allowed it to happen. And I know I live in a hedge. And if you remove the hedge to let me suffer like this, I suffer like this, I know in some kind of way you're going to either you're showing me something now to protect me from something later, as painful as it is to see it, and I'm sitting there crying, balled up in a knot. Thank you for letting me see it before I went any further. In him will I trust. I will trust him in the dark place, in the painful place. When push comes to shove, I don't know anything. My children are dead. My cattle are dead. I'm bankrupt. I lost my house. My body's broken out in boils. But when I come forth, I shall come forth as pure gold. Notice Job never accepted his condition to be his reality. He said, I don't know how long I'm going to have to be in this condition, but this is not my reality. When it is over, I shall come forth as pure gold. Here, the writer says, in him will I trust. Trust will take you to the secret place. Trust will take you to the secret place. Now, trust is not lip service. I've seen people talk a good old fight. You know, it's amazing how people will talk way up here and live way down here. And some of the people who do all the big talking, you don't even have to punch them. The enemy just slap them a little bit. They just completely fall apart. But I'm talking about down in your soul, in your spirit, in the innermost part of your being. You have to decide, do I trust God? Do I trust God? It's easy to trust God when you just got a raise. Do I trust God even though I got fired? Do I trust God when I get laid off? Do I trust God as they lower a loved one in the grave? My heart is broken. I don't even think I can breathe. I'm so upset I'm out of breath. But Lord, I trust you that you wouldn't allow this to happen to me if some kind of way there were not going to be something positive that comes out of this. I trust you when I can't trace you. It will take you to the secret place so that even if the enemy did do it, it didn't work, because the enemy only did it to make you curse God. And the moment you say, Lord, I'm crying, but I praise you. Lord, I'm bleeding, but I praise you. Lord, I'm hurting, but I thank you. You defeat him, not by getting out of the situation, but not allowing the situation to move your foundation. Sheltered by the shepherd. He monitors who gets in my life, and he monitors who gets out. I'm sheltered.
I really pray that this message challenged you to look outside of yourself and see what all you can do for others. As Jesus did for us, he sacrificed so many things. On the cross, his very own life he gave so that we could have a more abundant life, but also to do the same in return. So it is my prayer that even today that you find a way to sacrifice so that others may live more abundantly, just like our partners do when they partner with us to offer you this incredible programming. We want to thank you for the sacrifice that you've made that has reaped a harvest that has touched millions upon millions of lives. We couldn't do it without you. We certainly want to keep growing with you. Thank you for watching The Potter's Touch. See you next time.
Now every sermon is about the benefits, but the only problem is nobody's doing the job. How are you eligible for the benefits when you don't do the job? The only reason you're afraid is because you are filled up with yourself. But when you get filled up with him, you will not be afraid.
With your gift of any size, you'll receive Bishop's message Out of Service on CD from the Full Tank series. And with your gift of $70 or more, you'll receive the entire 3-part series Full Tank on DVD.
Does Christ hang around you, or does he live inside of you? He wants to go from being around you to being in you.
However, with your gift of $160 or more, you'll receive Full Tank on DVD and our Christmas gift collection, which includes the Message of Christmas booklet, a box set of inspirational cards, and Joy, Hope, and Peace candle holders. Rev up your engine and go the distance on a Full Tank today. Next time on The Potter's Touch.
This is a testimony that I don't tell you. This is the other half of my testimony. This is the part that when I get to it, I start speaking in tongues. This is a part of my testimony that makes me run around the church. I can't even tell you all the stuff that almost got me. I don't even know how I got out myself. If nobody in the whole church praises God, I will bless the Lord at all times. His praise shall continually be in my mouth.
This is the Potter's Touch.
Coming up on The Potter's Touch.
God is saying that if you are going to be like him, you have to love like him. You have to love people who don't think like you, who don't look like you, who don't vote like you, who don't dress like you. And you have to take down the tribunal whereby you try people before you love them and begin to understand that love has no loopholes. Don't dress it up in political clothes. Don't dress it up in religious clothes. Love has no loopholes.
This is the Potter's Touch.
Hello, I'm so delighted to be able to be with you today. Do you not know that love has no loopholes, which means love conquers all? The greatest of gifts beyond anything is love. It's forgiving, it's patient, it's kind, it doesn't bear any ill feelings or any record of wrong. Love endures forever, and you should be able to experience that love. Watch this.
God says that you love the Lord thy God with all thy heart and mind, and that you love thy neighbor as you love yourself. I want to go deeper. He legislates love. He commands you to love. Oh, I could spend all day. If you command me to do something, that means I can do it. Because it wouldn't be fair for you to command me to do something I can't do. I command you to be a white man with blonde hair and blue eyes. Come on, Lord. I could scrub and scrub and scrub. If I had time, I'd tell you a joke. But they might have to edit it. But little kid up in the hills of West Virginia saw me. He hadn't seen nobody in my color in his life. And he looked at me. He said, Mister, hi, mister. I finally turned around. He said, are you like that all over? I said, everywhere I could see and everywhere I could get the mirror to point, it seems to be a 100% total job. Okay, I'm back on track. Okay. You can take that home with you. That don't cost you nothing. It's one of my little crazy little stories happened to me when I was going along. If he commands me to do it, it must be within my power to accomplish it. Because it wouldn't be just to command me to do something that I cannot do. So love thy neighbor as thyself. And then the lawyer says to the Lord, who is my neighbor? That's the loophole. He says, you know, what do you believe? What do you wear? What is your theology? I don't know whether I'm gonna love you or not till I find out who is my neighbor. So this is supposed to be smart. What he's saying is, do I determine by who lives next door to me? Do I determine by my ethnicity? Do I determine by my politics? Do I determine by my orthodoxy? Who is my neighbor? Okay, y'all with me? If you don't understand that, then you have never understood the story of the Good Samaritan. Because the story of the Good Samaritan is Jesus' answer to the lawyer's loophole. Jesus looks at him. Watch this, y'all. Watch this. I'm gonna tell you this, I'll be gone. He says, who is my neighbor? And Jesus doesn't even answer him. He says, a certain man. Jesus is so cool. Woo! He's so cool. He's so cool. Jesus says, a certain man went down from Jerusalem. The very fact that he said he went down from Jerusalem says he's a Jew. To Jericho. And he says he fell amongst thieves who stripped him and wounded him and left him half dead. He says, a Levite passed by and saw him, Levite, Levitical priesthood, your pastors, your religious orthodoxy, those that epitomize the sacraments of your faith, the tenets, the one who handled the theology for you, passed by, looked at him, and turned and went away. You mean this guy who the lawyer would perceive to be an okay neighbor didn't help him? Let me break this down where it becomes relevant to you. Have you ever been shocked when you were in trouble at who didn't help you? The person that you thought for sure that you knew would be your ride or die. Ride or die is an African-American colloquialism that means like total commitment. Generally accommodated with another word that I won't use, but it just means to be totally committed. Now, that's enough about that. So, okay, and you find out that when the heat is on, the brother who said he would always be there for you, act like he don't even know you, looks at your predicament and crosses by on the other side. The priest comes, your holy friends, see you in trouble, saying, girl, if you need anything, call me. Ain't it funny how you can be bleeding to death and folks say, if you need, and they pass by on the other side. I want you to understand what Jesus is saying to him. Watch this. He says, and then the good Samaritan. Now, you have to understand, Jesus is setting the lawyer up, using an oxymoron, because in the lawyer's mind, there is no such thing as a good Samaritan. The Jews had no dealings with the Samaritans. In fact, one time when they got ready to insult Jesus, they called him a Samaritan. When Jesus came down to the well to meet the Samaritan woman, she said, you know your people don't talk to me. Love to likeness. Only to find out the old Negro adage, everybody skin to me ain't kin to me. So Jesus says, who is your neighbor? Was it the priest? Was it the Levite? Or was it the good Samaritan who got down off his beast, poured in the oil and the wine, set you on his own beast, and brought you to the innkeeper's house, and all of the help came through somebody that you wouldn't have thought was your neighbor? All the witnesses, clap your hands. So here are your takeaways. God is saying that if you are going to be like him, you have to love like him. You have to love people who don't think like you, who don't look like you, who don't vote like you, who don't dress like you, and you have to take down the tribunal whereby you try people before you love them and begin to understand that love has no loopholes. Don't dress it up in political clothes. Don't dress it up in religious clothes. Don't dress it up in tribal clothes. Don't dress it up in ethnical clothes. Don't dress it up in status. Love has no loophole. Now, I'll tell you how to begin to learn that is have some children.
Yes, sir.
Because if you fool around and have some children, you will begin to understand that love has no loopholes. You will tell them when you're talking bad, if you do it again, I'm not going to ever do such and such. I'm not going to help you. Don't call me. I'm not going to loan you no money. If you walk out that door and get into this, you are in it by yourself. That's what you said. But because you... Tell somebody, say it's about love, it's about love, it's about love.
Still to come on the Potter's Touch.
He couldn't get out of it. Love didn't have a loophole. It was not the nails that held him to the cross. He could have pulled the nails out. It wasn't the cross because he made the tree. It wasn't the mountain because he hollowed the mountain. But for the love that was set before him, he died.
It's an amazing experience. It's an opportunity to learn, and from Bishop Jakes, to learn from what he's experienced, to understand what leadership is, to understand what it is to be a pastor.
God has a place for you to go and to preach and to touch, and until you finish your purpose, no weapon formed against you shall be able to prosper.
This year, we decided to bring most of our leaders so they can hear the life-changing message. It's critical, it's essential. I recommend it to anybody.
I've seen others talk about it, but I have experienced it and witnessed it. It's like none other. Save your money, do whatever you got to do to get here, because your ministry, your life will never be the same.
To the end that my glory may sing praise to thee and not be silent. O Lord my God, I will give thanks unto thee forever. This Thanksgiving, we are reminded to count our blessings. We are thankful for you. Share what you're thankful for using the hashtag TPHThankful.
See, when love will make you change your mind. Love will make you go back on your word. Love will make you go an extra mile. Love will make you apologize even though you thought you was right. Love will make you feed somebody who cussed you out. Love will make you call somebody even though it makes you look like the weaker one. Does anybody understand the words that are coming out of my mouth? Touch your neighbor and say, love don't have no loopholes. It don't have no loopholes. I don't care what they did. I don't care who they did it with. I don't care how much you don't agree with it. If you really are a lover, love will find a way. It'll climb over top of stuff and find a way. Love will find a way to get you love. Glory to God, glory to God, glory to God. Hit three people, say, ain't no way out, ain't no way out. Ain't no way out. Ain't no way out. You can't get out of it. You got to go through with it. You may have to cry, but you got to go through with it. You may look weak, but you got to go through with it. Your mama may talk about you and say, you ought not take that, but you got to go through with it. Love has no loopholes. Touch three people, say, no way out. No way out. No way out. Ironclad. Irrevocable, immutable, unchangeable. Love has no loopholes. And I know I'm right about it because Jesus himself tried to find a loophole. For the Bible said that he went in the Garden of Gethsemane and he said, Father, if it be thy will, pass this bitter cup from me. It costs too much to love these people. They're all messed up and confused. And he had to pray 3 times, trying to find a way out of the contract. But finally he said, not my will, but thine be done. And they hung him high and they stretched him wide until the sun refused to shine and the ground began to tremble and he died. Till the veil in the temple was rent from the top to the bottom, and he died till law fell over on grace. He died. Yes, he did. Oh, yes, he did. Oh, yes, he did. Oh, yes, he did. Touch three people and say he couldn't get out of it. 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 Love didn't have a loophole. It was not the nails that held him to the cross. He could have pulled the nails out. It wasn't the cross because he made the tree. It wasn't the mountain because he hollowed the mountain. But for the love that was set before him, he died. Shake your neighbor by the hand and say, neighbor, I'm going to shake your hand, but you can't shake your responsibility. You can't shake your responsibility. You can't shake what you got to do. Love has no loopholes. You got to love everybody with all of your heart. So, whew. Oh my God. What I'm trying to get you to see, join hands with somebody. What I'm trying to get you to do, what I'm trying to get you to see, what I'm trying to get you to understand, what I'm trying to get you to think. You got to be bigger than this. You can't just love the folks in your zip code, the folks in your denomination, or the folks in your house. Love has no loopholes. The person you touch may have been taught wrong. They may have been taught to only love when the circumstances are right, when the conditions are right, or if you think like I think. But life keeps demanding that you broaden your ability to love. Working with people will demand that you broaden your ability to love. Even people, can I be honest, that you normally wouldn't like. These are not the people that you would invite over to eat hot dogs with, but for a paycheck, you learn how to after a while, you do invite them over. You cannot be a big person with a small heart. We can teach you all kinds of principles about being blessed and prosperous and overcoming and victory. Life can take you to the opiate of success. But if you end up behind a big desk in a corner office with a small mind and a small heart, you will lose everything you have because you cannot determine who is your neighbor. Now, the person you're touching right now, they may not tell you But every last one of us, our love is being tested in some area. A demand is being placed on your ability to love, your ability to understand, your ability to broaden your perspective beyond your comfort zone. I may not sing the songs you grew up singing. I may not preach the way you're used to hearing it. But if you get hungry enough, you'll learn to look past your sweat rag and say, you know, that man helped me. I want you to pass the test. And the only way you're not going to pass it is if you continue to be a self-enthroned, egotistical maniac. What does that mean? Everything's about you. Years ago, I met a woman who'd written a book that stayed in my mind, never left. It said that the root of all sin is selfishness. And because I am a thinker, I couldn't get away from the thought. Look at your sins. Are you selfish? Is your love dwarfed? Are you loving like an adolescent in the middle of your life? Is everything always got to be about you? And if any of that pierces you, if there's any part of you that's not so calloused that you can't hear truth, if the word was sharp enough to pierce, dividing asunder bone and marrow, soul and spirit, and got down in your heart and challenged you, and you say, yes, I admit it, I am selfish. I understand that because I've been selfish too. And the truth of the matter is everybody in here at one time or another didn't play by the rules, went for yourself and said, I gotta be me, and you were selfish. But I'm telling you, there is no loophole. If you flunk the test, you're gonna have to take it again. And take it again. And take it again until you pass the test of love. In somebody's life, this cuts deep. It cuts down to the people you live with and eat with, your own children, and how you interact with your own family and your own wife and your own husband. It cuts deep to how you feel about your mother and your stepmother and your mother's new boyfriend. It cuts deep because it's not what you expected, it's not what you wanted, and you have to admit it's not about you. It cuts deep into how you treat your sister and how you treat your brother. It cuts real deep down into how you treat the people you know. To somebody else, it cuts real deep into how you treat people you don't know. People who don't look like you and dress like you or sing like you or walk like you or believe like you. Somebody, it challenges your theology because you've been trained to only embrace people who embrace a certain principle or ideal. Cuts deep. But God would not be speaking it to you if you didn't need to hear it.
What a wonderful experience. What a wonderful emotion. Love. It's so warm, so comforting. It's so forgiving. It's so genuine. God is love. And we've got to learn to love ourselves before we can love anyone else. How are we going to do that? The ultimate teacher. Love yourself before you can love your neighbor. It's a vertical relationship. You love God and you love the person beside you. Love has no loopholes. I'm in love with Jesus. How about you? We'll talk about it again real soon. Bye-bye.
MegaFest is returning to Dallas, Texas, August 20th through 22nd. And we've got even more in the best 3-day faith and family festival on the planet. Inspiration, music, comedy, entertainment, youth, and more is coming back to thrill you again. MegaFest 2013 was awesome, but MegaFest 2015 is going to be even bigger and better. Register now at mega-fest.com.
Now every sermon is about the benefits, but the only problem is nobody's doing the job. How are you eligible for the benefits when you don't do the job? The only reason you're afraid is because you are filled up with yourself. But when you get filled up with him, you will not be afraid.
With your gift of any size, you'll receive Bishop's message Out of Service on CD from the Full Tank series. And with your gift of $70 or more, you'll receive the entire 3-part series Full Tank on DVD.
Does Christ hang around you, or does he live inside of you? He wants to go from being around you to being in you.
However, with your gift of $160 or more, you'll receive Full Tank on DVD and our Christmas gift collection, which includes the Message of Christmas booklet, a box set of inspirational cards, and Joy, Hope, and Peace candle holders. Rev up your engine and go the distance on a Full Tank today.
Sometimes God puts your healing in the hands of somebody whose theology is different from yours. Sometimes God puts your healing in a place that's unfamiliar or uncomfortable. Sometimes God gives you a child who doesn't believe like you believe, or live like you live, or think like you think, or act like you want them to act. You got to go on a love mission and say, you're still my child. You're still my baby. Come on in this house and get something to eat. I don't know what to think about what you're doing, but I know I love you.
This is the potter's touch.
That is how a soul sounds when you want to escape the parameters of your situation. Let me hear it again. That's in that man sitting next to you. That's in that woman right behind you. That's in your sister to the left. That's what's going on in this choir stand back here. That's what's happening on the praise team. You may not see my lips moving, but my soul is saying,
This is the potter's touch.
hey, brothers and sisters, I want to take just a moment and give a shout out to all of you that have been hitting me up on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram, and all of the ways that you've been communicating, thanking me for writing Instinct. I'm honored and privileged to have been blessed to do it, and I want to continue to teach along those lines. There are some concepts that you really need to really come to grapple with. I know you thank God for being saved, and so do I, but you were pre-wired by the Father in the creation with certain instincts and talents and gifts to accomplish certain purpose and task. You need to match up what's in you with what's in front of you, and if you do that, it will change your life. Stop going after things that you're not equipped for. Just because you see other people go after it doesn't mean it's for you. You are uniquely, fearfully, marvelously made. Those instincts will set you on a path where you will love yourself as you are and discover how God had a plan for your personality, your skill sets, your talents. When you flow in that, you are really going to be awesome. Take a look at this, and may God bless you. Your instincts are calling you to move into a realm that your experiences do not validate. You haven't been trained for that. You don't have the right resources. You don't have the right money. You waited too late. You're too old. You're too short. You're too fat. You're too dark. You're too light. You're too bald-headed. Your nose is too wide. You can't do that. You don't have the background for it. You didn't come from the right side of the track. Your parents didn't raise you like that. You come from this. All of that is the cage that holds you in incarceration from going to the next level. But somebody's made up in their mind they want to go. Anybody want to go? But what are my options? Is my only option to either stay in the cage or leap into the wild? Because if I leap into the wild, look at what I don't have. I don't have the skills. I don't have the training. I don't have the background. I don't know how to hunt. I don't know how to fight. I don't know where to drink from. My instincts are calling me to what is organic and natural for me, but my experiences have not prepared me for the opportunity that stands in front of me. And so I stand here caught and betwixt and between two opinions. Something in me is telling me to go ahead, and something in me is telling me to stay back. Something in me telling me I can do it. Something in me says I better be careful. Something in me says break out into the wild and figure it out as you go. Something in me says if you go out of that cage, you're gonna die. This is all you know. This is where you came from. This is what you got. And I'm stuck between opportunity and abuse. If I stay in this cage, I will validate the abuse that has been perpetuated on me all of my life, and I suffer for your entertainment. I suffer for your entertainment. I suffer for your entertainment, bound by fear, and fear has torment. I'm in the cage, but I'm afraid to get out. It's not that I don't want to get out. I don't know how to get out. I'm afraid to get out. Last time I tried to get out, they caught me and brought me back. How can I get out? Am I talking for anybody in this room? And the real question is, there is something between staying and leaping. There is something between working your job and quitting your job and starting a business with no money. There is something between being single for 40 years and jumping into a marriage. This is about whatever your cage is. Everybody in here has a cage. It may be a spiritual cage. It may be a moral cage. It may be an emotional cage, but everybody in here has a cage. David says we were born in captivity. He says it this way, verbatim: we were born in sin, shapen in iniquity. We were born in the box. What do I do when all of my experiences validate my incarceration? And yet my instincts keep nagging me in this cage, saying there's something out there for you. I go to the bars, and I growl. I go back and look at it again, and I back up again. I go to church, Monday morning, Monday morning, I'm back in the cage again. Let me hear that roar again. Let me hear that. That's what's roaring down inside of somebody sitting next to you right now. That is how a soul sounds when you want to escape the parameters of your situation. Let me hear it again. That's in that man sitting next to you. That's in that woman right behind you. That's in your sister to the left. That's what's going on in this choir stand back here. That's what's happening on the praise team. You may not see my lips moving, but my soul is saying, and I came to church this morning not just to sing and dance and shout. I want somebody to show me how to get from point A to point B. Tell your neighbor, there's a lion roaring in me. I never thought I would still have it at 56. I never thought it would make it past 40. I never thought that my hair could be white and I could still be roaring down in my soul. But I declare unto you today, there is yet a... shut that. Woo! Oh, 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 do you feel me? Do you feel me? Do you hear the words that are coming out of my mouth? Let the lion roar. Touch three people and say, I gotta get out, I gotta get out, I gotta get out, I gotta get out, I can't stay in this bondage, this burden, this trauma, this abuse, this cave. I know you like to come look at me and bring your kids and throw peanuts to the wall, but this is my prison and I've got to get out. I got to get out before the year is out. I said, I got to get out before the year is out. Yeah. Any way I can, by any means necessary, whatever it takes. If I gotta go back to class, if I gotta go back to school, if I gotta live by myself, if I gotta be misunderstood, if you have to hate me, I'm coming out. Roar!
Still to come on the Potter's Touch.
I want you to meet the inner lion inside of you that is roaring to get out. You are not Jacob. Your name is Israel. You have prevailed with God. I feel like I'm prophesying to somebody. I don't know who it is, but whatever they named you, you are not that anymore. May I tell you right now that this Sunday morning is a witness that your gate is open and your soul has escaped.
Discover the freedom of who you're meant to be. Greatness lies within following your instinct.
If you got the instinct, if you got the inclination, how do you expect somebody to value it enough, to invest in it enough, to get behind it enough if you won't expose what you got? You got to believe in what he put down inside of you. That's in that man sitting next to you. That's in that woman right behind you. That's in your sister to the left. You may not see my lips moving, but my soul is saying, there's a lion roaring in me.
Order Instinct today on CD or DVD when you call or visit tdjakes.org. The year's most highly anticipated event is here. The wait is over. Woman Thou Art Loose 2014.
I just love being here. It's exciting. The speakers are awesome. The lineup is incredible.
There's something you walk away with that you can't take from a DVD.
Things are happening. Lives are changing.
Being able to cut the cord of things that you've had in your past.
This is the life-changing event of the year.
And I'm so glad I did come here.
Definitely a movement.
Register today for Woman Thou Art Loose 2014.
I'm not out yet, but I'm coming out. Yeah, I'm coming out. I said I'm not out yet, but I'm coming out. It's not that I don't want to be immediately out, but I have to adjust to the world I want. I want it. Please don't think that my slowness is an indication of my lack of interest. It's just that I have never passed this way before. I want it. I long for it. I crave for it. I'm trying to get myself over to where you are. But I have never passed this way before. My past was abusive, but it was my normal. And I'm trying to get a new normal. Would you help me? Help me. Help me get a new normal. Help me. Would you help me? Help me. Help me get up on my feet. Help me get up on my feet. I always wanted to be over here with y'all, but I didn't know how to get from over there to over here. And I had to crawl out and cry out and stumble out and spend 3 hours out and 5 hours back and 5 hours out and 3 hours back. But I'm coming out. Even if I can't leap out. Even if I have to get out and then go home and cry all night. I'm coming scared, but I'm coming. I'm coming nervous, but I'm coming. I'm coming weak, but I'm coming. I have got to follow my instincts, even when all of my experiences say stay in the cage. I have a roar in me, trembling in my soul, a sensitivity in my spirit that I belong in the wild. In the wild. The blue yonders. Not the cage. Not imprisoned. I belong over here. It may take a process. I may have to sleep over here and spend the day over here. Or spend the day over here and go to sleep over here. I may have to eat over here because I don't know how to hunt yet. I don't know how to hunt. I don't know how. I know it's embarrassing for me to be a big old lion and be as old as I am and not know how to do stuff that other lions know how to do. In fact, I'm embarrassed by your success because you're so good at something that I should be good at, but I don't know how to do because I didn't get what you got when I was growing up. So what I want you to get out of my first point of leaping, I want you to understand that you don't have to leap out. It's not all or nothing. You can come out in stages. You can be weaned out. I want you to understand that for many people, when all of your experiences were abuse, freedom is scary. Success is frightening. Love scares me to death if I never had it. If I have defined myself by the poverty or the ghetto I came up in, I like the idea of success, but the reality of it is intimidating. I don't know what to do in this environment, and I tried to stay in that one, but I can't stay there. I can't stay there. And isn't it funny how you can be sure that you don't want to go back, but you feel strange going forward? Because my opportunities can give me a set of possibilities that my experiences don't support. So even when I get a great opportunity, I'm afraid that you'll find out I don't know how to hunt. I don't know how to love. I don't know how to be professional. I got a degree and don't know how to be professional.
My God, my God.
I don't know how to be a husband. I don't know how to be a wife. I got the ring. What does this mean? They told me to say I do, but I didn't know what I did. Because my perspective of what to expect was based on the cage I came from. Transitions are important, and transitions are tough. It is not easy to go through the process without pain. Go to Genesis 32 for a minute. I want you to look at something. Genesis 32, 27. And he said unto him, what is thy name? Who are you? Have you ever wondered who you are? Are you the one in the cage? Or are you the one in the wild? Are you slick like your mama, Jacob? Or like your uncle Laban? Are you slick like Laban? All of your kinfolks are sneaky, Jacob. And here God asks you, who are you? And he says, my name is Jacob. He says, I guess I am who they call me. Jacob means trickster. Just because somebody called you something, just because somebody said something about you or did something to you or took something from you doesn't mean that they get the right to define your destiny based on your history. Oh, this is good. And he said, thy name shall be called no more Jacob. Thy name shall be called no more Jacob. Thy name, oh, woo, it's going to be hard. It's hard because I feel something. I'm trying to teach, but I feel something. Thy name shall be called no more Jacob. Say that with me. Thy name shall be called no more Jacob. Say it again. Thy name shall be called no more Jacob. Say it again. Thy name shall be called no more Jacob. Now, this time when you say it, instead of saying Jacob, whatever label they put on you, say it that time. Thy name shall be called no more broke, slow, inferior, intimidated, insecure, unreliable, selfish. You'll never be nothing. You're just like your daddy. You'll never get up. Nobody would ever want you. Nobody would ever love you. Hey, I got news for you. Thy name shall be called no more. You mean I am not defined by where I came from? No, you are Israel. There's a prince roaring in you. For the prince has our power with God and with men and has prevailed. Beneath whatever it is you're fighting, there's a prince roaring in you. That's why you couldn't stay in the cage. That's why I gave you a chance to get out. Because in the middle of the night, When you cried unto me, it sounded like roaring. It sounded like thunder. It sounded like lightning. It sounded like power. And I heard your roaring in the cage. And I brought you up on the mountain to tell you, you are not who they say you are. You might have done what they say you did, but you are not who they say you are. There is a prince in you. His name is Israel. I want you to get acquainted with him rather than to acquiesce to what they call you. I want you to meet the inner lion inside of you that is roaring to get out. You are not Jacob. Your name is Israel. You have prevailed with God. I feel like I'm prophesying to somebody. I don't know who it is, but whatever they named you, you are not that anymore. May I tell you right now that this Sunday morning is a witness that your gate is open and your soul has escaped. Hey, I've got to stop right there. I've got more to share with you. I've got so much more I want to share with you. I'll be back in a moment.
Discover the freedom of who you're meant to be. Greatness lies within following your instinct.
If you've got the instinct, if you've got the inclination, how do you expect somebody to value it enough, to invest in it enough, to get behind it enough if you won't expose what you got? But you got to believe in what he put down inside of you. That's in that man sitting next to you. That's in that woman right behind you. That's in your sister to the left. You may not see my lips moving, but my soul is saying, there's a lion roaring in me.
Order Instinct today on CD or DVD when you call or visit tdjakes.org.
Defeat is not an option, not on your watch. It's time to fight for the family.
For every one of you who's wondering, do I have what it takes for this season in my life? Fight back.
Let TD Jakes equip you to win the war for your house and build a legacy of faith. When you help us bless others with your gift of any size, we would like to give you I Dare You on CD.
When you complete each other, you take advantage of the differences in your position. Come on, tell me when to turn, tell me when to turn. Okay. See, I don't have to see it if she sees it. I don't have to know it if she knows it.
For your gift of $70 or more, we will give you the Fight for the Family series on DVD. But when your gift is $125 or more, also receive these unique faith-inspiring bookends and prayer cards. Just call or visit tdjakes.org today.
Your eye may be black and your teeth may be busted, but you look the devil in his eye and you say, baby, I'm still here.
The fight is on.
The year's most highly anticipated event is here. The wait is over. The Woman Thou Art Loosed 2014.
I just love being here. It's exciting. The speakers are awesome. The lineup is incredible.
There's something you walk away with that you can't take from a DVD.
Things are happening. Lives are changing.
Being able to cut the cord of things that you've had in your past.
This is the life-changing event of the year.
And I'm so glad I did come here.
Definitely a movement.
Register today for Woman Thou Art Loosed 2014.
I've got to close. It's been a real joy to have the opportunity to think with you, to talk with you, to share with you. Not so much preach at you. I think that there are some things that you need to sit down and reason out. And as you reason them out, you unlock resources that are available to you that you haven't even tapped into. And many of us, other people see more in us than we see in ourselves. God, what are we missing? You need to check out the miracle of you and what God the Father placed down inside of you and how it is on a time release capsule for such a time as this. Take this word in, ingest it, and use it for God's glory, and do it instinctively.
This is the potter's touch. Shaping the nation, touching the world, reaching from heaven, the potter's touch, showing compassion.
from speaking in singular terminology of servant, and even when servants talks about a singular, into a plural terminology of servants. The pattern is clear. Before the cross, there was one servant. But after Calvary, there is an increase. And after the resurrection, we see many servants. The Son becomes the sons. The servant becomes the many-membered church, the bride of Christ. It is very clear that Isaiah chapter 54 was written for you. It is very clear that Isaiah chapter 54 was written for us, the redeemed ones. Somebody look at somebody and say, you better sing, girl, you better sing. Now he's talking to us. This promise is for you. This is not for many centuries ago. This is not for thousands of years ago. This is your word that God's getting ready to release you into what he's promised for you. I don't know who's been barren, but I'm getting ready to show you your breakthrough. I don't know what you went through, but God says it's a setup. I have a word for his church and for your elevation, for your advancement. Your trial will not be wasted. Your pain will have purpose. God's going to use everything the enemy meant for bad, and he will turn it around for good. He shows us very clearly that beauty is to follow affliction and peace is to follow tempest and disturbance. I know it's not popular and you're not going to stand up and shout, but you will give God some praise for some things that cause you some headache and some heartache. You're going to look back and you're not going to thank God for everybody who just cheered you on, but you're going to thank God for Judas that kissed you. You're going to thank God for every enemy that